Lined up now.
It's Zach's turn with the Origin EX, which releases today as of the posting of this video, May 16th, so if you like what you see, you can go get one now. While watching Tobias, I thought this would be one that Zach would really like, as it's a rolly ball with a stronger but still cleaner and smoother cover that would be easier for him to control, so we'll see as we get into it. You know by now that I'm the tech guy that shoots you straight. It's all about the ball reaction and getting you what you need. I have a full review up front and then a live commentary in the back half of the video. We are at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas on the Kegel Chromium Challenge pattern. It's 42 feet long, 25.5 mils. The graph is linked in the description if you want all of the pattern details. Same ellipse AI core from the Origin, 248RG, 050 differential, and an 020 int diff in 15 pounds, so very strong asymmetric core, and while there's some impressive lingo in the description of the unique looking weight block, basically it creates a strong and dynamic motion without wanting to lock up or stand up or give up or quit or whatever like stronger asymmetric balls can do. Anyone that has an Origin knows that it's strong and dynamic, but I don't know that I've ever seen one truly lock up and puke, even if it's being used the wrong way and is struggling. Even struggling, it's still hanging out. The thing with this one is the cover, RB89 solid that comes at 2000 grit. The description of the cover says it's one of the cleanest covers they've ever made, but 89 is still a pretty big number. Remember, for global, the cover strength is tied to the number up to 100 on the scale. The Origin is RB93, so this one is weaker, but the Zen 25 is RB83, so the EX is still quite a bit closer to the Origin than to the 25. To kind of fast track the rest of the monologue, we talked about this in the preview and in Tobias's review. The description and the cover number don't match because they make it sound like it's this super clean, weaker cover, but the cover number is still pretty high. It's definitely on the stronger side for the cover, but it is very smooth, so you've seen it hook plenty already, but it also takes some help to cover boards, so it really does act more like a Tour ASIM, like the NV Tour Lethal Venom, or basically what you'd imagine an Ion Pro Solid would be, even though that's not what it actually is on paper. Zach uses his Ion Pro quite a bit, and this just looks like a stronger, earlier, and smoother version of it. This is one of those balls that's tricky to explain because I feel like people look for more dynamic or impressive reaction on video, and this isn't that kind of a ball. People are always looking for flippy response down lane or a lot of recovery, and that's not this ball. It's the early, smooth control ball that's not going to flip or scream back from the ditch, and that's okay. This also obviously isn't what you'd expect a solid Origin to be. The reaction shape is familiar, the archy, mostly continuous motion through the pins, but this one is weaker, even sanded, and significantly smoother. In the case of something like a gem versus an exotic gem, you can feel a lot closer relationship, so if you're wanting or expecting a stronger sanded version of the Origin, the EX isn't it. You're gonna need to look at something like the Ion Max for that. It was still too strong and early for him to play too straight with, most balls are, and because it's slower, he couldn't get it going too far away from the pocket unless he really slowed it down. Usually if you slow roll balls like this too much, they can kind of bog down or give up, but this one didn't. It kept climbing and continuing. He could get pretty deep with it, and he could swing it some, which is important information, but it took a moderate adjustment, and he notes in the live comm that it's definitely more comfortable or requires less help from the bowler from straighter angles. Hopefully this was illustrated well, but I think the higher your rev rate is, the more you're going to like this ball, no matter what your speed is, because of how controllable it is. It very much leans the sport condition or cliff blending direction, so you might actually maybe you have a really cliffed house shot where it's super oily in the middle and super dry on the outside, and this one should help you manage or blend that better. Again, it's on the stronger side, but it's not super strong, so unless you're really slow speed or significantly rev dominant, you should be able to use this ball on a lot of things. If you're higher speed, you're going to need the rev rate to go with it, because even with Zach really giving it the business, it's still a nice, even, round, smooth arc. One wrinkle might be if you're a really direct bowler. Some straighter players have angle issues. A lot of balls are too responsive to go super straight with. They have to move in a bit to get them down the lane, but then can't get the ball to finish. Obviously, Zach can't go straight down the side, but if you have a lower rev rate and like walking the ball in down the side, it's going to pick up earlier and just kind of ease into the pocket. Other balls in this similar zone I think would be the Black Widow 3.0 and Evoke. I think it's a little rounder / smoother than the 3.0 and a little weaker and slightly sharper than the Evoke, but definitely very familiar to those two. As always, lots of great stuff in the description. I've appreciated you all using my CoolWick code as often as you have. Again, most of the credit I get from your purchases goes to providing jerseys for the Youth League at Royal Crest every year, so I'm paying it forward.
I will take your kindness and pay it forward.
I've also really liked a lot of the stuff I've been using from Genesis, a big fan of their tapes and chamois, and the Sport 3-ball mod roller. I still use and love the Nexus backpack onto version V2 now. The discount link in the description for that, as well as their journal. That's a great tournament companion and pairs really well with the score tracking app. The bowling video thing's a lot of time and expense for not a lot in return, so sorry for the ads, but I really do use and like this stuff. I think you will too, and it's a really easy way to support me at the same time, so I appreciate it. Comparing to the original Origin, the two Origins look more similar for Zach than they did for Tobias. You can definitely see a familiarity in the ball roll, but also still see the EX is weaker. The original for Zach, I think, is earlier and smoother than it is for most people, but again, this is a great illustration of cover formula strength. When a shiny ball with a stronger cover still manages to be stronger, and I'm not just talking sharper because sharpness isn't strength, you can actually see the Origin digging in and slowing down and getting ready to move without having any help from the surface that the EX has. But the EX, having a weaker cover, needs that surface to help it dig through the oil. The Origin really picks up and goes when it hits the back end, while the EX rounds it off and really controls the back end. It's easier to see as he gets deeper, but the Origin wants to fly, so he absolutely has to make sure he gives it room. If he gets it in a little bit, it's gone. And sometimes you need a ball that's going to cover boards and finish strong from deep on the lane, but other times you need something like the EX that's going to give you more control when they're tough or tight or over-under or whatever you want to call it. Even though he has to make a bit bigger adjustment with the EX to get it to work, it actually gives him a little more forgiveness than the Origin. You're naturally sacrificing a bit of punch and power for control, but it works just like golf clubs. Sometimes you need to sacrifice a little distance for some airtime and precision of where the ball lands. A sharp back end is sometimes like distance. Sometimes you need it and it's great, and sometimes you need to go a different direction. It all depends on the situation. Once again, it's available now, and if you are going to buy the ball online, I have a link to Bowler's Mart in the description that I'd appreciate you using, another easy way to support me. Don't forget to stick around for the live comm coming up next. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you. This video was brought to you by Panda Bear Productions. We put the in bowling.
I don't look good, so try to repeat that. I want to move left, but not throw it as far right as where I 5 counted earlier. There we go. Bang. Lined up now. Yeah. I just had to, when I first went left, I tried to throw it farther right than that, and it didn't want to, it's too slow down lane. So I had to kind of bring the eyes in and throw it a little faster. Yeah. So that's where you kind of see the slowness down lane with this ball, which isn't a bad thing. I just think it's going to be a little bit better, straighter angles. Let's slow down a little bit, see if I can get to hook. Just caught that one a little too much. I like the speed, I just gotta get it off the fingers a little cleaner. There we go. That was good.